Introduction to the Knowledge of Self. Lesson 2C. Section GT Act. July 5, 2023. Salutations, esteemed ladies and gentlemen. If you have persevered until this juncture, it signifies your resolve to delve into the depths of self-awareness. During our previous lecture, I posed the query, what lies at the core of inner contentment? Moreover, how shall we define such fulfillment? Is it the ability to maintain an enduring state of tranquility and bliss, despite adverse circumstances? Skeptics may argue that such a state of being is non-existent. In such an event, it becomes incumbent upon me to guide you through a process of recognizing the influential forces that govern our experimental journey. Although the subject matter at hand may initially appear intricate, your openness and interest will gradually engender lucidity. Therefore, do not fret, exercise patience. As aforementioned, many of you may ardently assert that optimal health, thriving relationships, a favorable living environment, and prosperous economic conditions are prerequisites for attaining serenity and joy in life. I do not contest the notion that these fundamental factors contribute to an enhanced quality of life. Furthermore, I acknowledge that numerous individuals have been fortunate enough to acquire some or all of these blessings. Most of us either resign ourselves to our overall circumstances or strive to procure those elements we believe will render us whole or better. Our pursuit of success is shaped by societal teachings and prevailing definitions thereof. Consequently, we navigate the prescribed avenues in pursuit of success, such as establishing our own enterprises, pursuing higher education, engaging in physical exercise, adhering to a wholesome diet, and securing gainful employment, among others. Regrettably, some resort to illicit or unethical means. Of course, I shall never condone illegal or unethical conduct. However, I do endorse those who earnestly endeavor to ameliorate their quality of life. Notwithstanding our collective aspiration to achieve predetermined objectives, the harsh realities of life often impede the attainment of our goals. Now, the pertinent query arises, to what extent does the stark reality of existence impinge upon our capacity to maintain a positive disposition while striving towards our desired aims? Furthermore, one might ask, what precisely constitutes life's harsh reality? Today's discourse shall commence with the latter inquiry. Consider, for instance, the necessity to toil beyond regular hours to settle one's financial obligations, an aspect that can be regarded as a manifestation of life's harsh reality. Likewise, the need to dedicate arduous hours to studying in order to succeed academically may be deemed an integral facet of life's harsh reality. Additionally, encountering disagreeable individuals within our professional sphere could be categorized as an instance of life's harsh reality. The inclement weather, be it excessive cold or scorching heat, might also be classified within life's harsh reality. Thus, it can be affirmed that we are besieged by the relentless presence of life's harsh reality. A profoundly significant question arises: can life's harsh reality be mitigated? Can our experiences in life exert a less severe impact upon us? Another possible formulation of this query may be, is our emotional responsiveness to life's experiences unduly delicate? We observe certain individuals who navigate similar trials and tribulations as ourselves but seemingly remain composed. It is plausible that their inherent biological and psychological constitution differs from ours, or perhaps the environment in which they operate is more propitious than that which most of us encounter. As human beings, we possess an innate inclination to interpret the actions of others through the lens of our individual reality and subjective emotions. Consequently, we often struggle to embrace the simple fact that we are inherently different from one another. What may appear logical or rational to one person is predicated upon their unique experiences and understanding of what constitutes reality. Undoubtedly, there exist individuals who share our perspectives and interpretations of various situations. It is conceivable, even, that a majority of the people we know possess a similar understanding of what constitutes proper behavior, respect, morality, as well as immorality or incorrect conduct. Most individuals within our social circles adhere to a set of accepted behaviors, which they consider inappropriate in certain contexts but appropriate in others. This principle of contextual suitability holds true across various scenarios. Why, then, do the majority of the people we associate with subscribe to the same interpretations of human behavior and life's circumstances as we do? Is it not because these interpretations sound logical, correct, and acceptable to those individuals, just as they do to us? The intricacy of this phenomenon lies in the existence of alternative perspectives and approaches to reality that remain imperceptible to us. Our ability to cultivate awareness of our emotional responses to situations allows us to recognize that much of our thinking and behavior occurs automatically. Consequently, we often find ourselves living reactionary lives, instinctively responding to situations without consciously acknowledging that our conduct is learned and conditioned. Our perception of reality is shaped by our definitions of situations, objects, emotions, and so forth. We have been taught to classify situations as oppressive, harsh, depressive, humiliating, great, favorable, and countless other adjectives, which serve as navigational tools in our encounter with reality. Therefore, the reality we perceive is molded by these learned linguistic constructs. For example, if one were to lose their purse or wallet, most individuals would describe the emotional impact of such an event using adjectives like sad, unfortunate, or depressing. By attaching any of these adjectives to the particular situation, our emotional state adjusts itself to align with the prescribed attributes of that emotional condition. Consider the emotional state of sadness in an individual. This condition manifests as a loss of muscle tone, a stooped or hunched posture, and a tendency to avert or lower one's gaze, among other physical indicators. Thus, it is considered natural for most individuals to feel sadness or any other negative emotional state in response to the loss of something important. Consequently, our behavior is guided by the adjectives that define specific emotional states, and our emotions dictate our perception of reality. A system in which happiness hinges solely upon external material possessions can easily become a breeding ground for human manipulation. In essence, leading people to believe that happiness resides in material objects or displays of emotions diminishes their inherent dignity, rendering them susceptible to bondage. Consequently, depriving individuals of certain possessions may drive them toward unethical behavior. Understanding the social system within which we have been indoctrinated reveals the widespread human abuses that afflict every facet of our existence. The pervasive influence of societal norms on an elevated scale, such as the emphasis on branded items, luxurious living arrangements, attractive partners, and globe-trotting experiences, has exerted a profound impact on certain individuals. Consequently, criminal activities like scheming, murder, theft, robbery, and drug distribution have become commonplace in our daily lives. These actions are often committed by individuals seeking fleeting moments of gratification, whether through visits to clubs or casinos or the acquisition of expensive items such as jewelry, clothing, or perfumes. The complexity of this issue lies in comprehending the origins of such behavior. We must ask ourselves, for instance, why it is deemed necessary to lead a life surrounded by opulence in order to experience satisfaction. Are people born with these desires, or are they instilled through social conditioning? It is important to acknowledge that many individuals with Christian values, for instance, steadfastly adhere to moral principles and refuse to compromise their standards for the sake of material gain. Some find contentment in modest living conditions. However, it is imperative that we delve deeper into the underlying motivations behind such behaviors and critically examine their root causes. Only through such introspection can we begin to unravel the intricate web of human desires and societal influences that shape our understanding of fulfillment and happiness. It is evident that individuals who adhere to Christian values often demonstrate a commitment to upholding moral standards, even in the face of material temptations. Some find contentment in leading humble lives, driven by their moral principles or the potential repercussions associated with deviating from their ethical framework. An individual who maintains strong moral principles is likely to enjoy a dignified social standing, distinct from those who prioritize material gains over ethical considerations. Regardless of the motivating factors behind an individual's chosen lifestyle, it ultimately stems from learned behavior. Our behavior is shaped in a manner that restricts our decision-making process to the options presented to us, with our choices inevitably aligning with our inner sentiments. Therefore, our actions are an expression of our emotional state. The underlying mechanism through which emotions influence our decision-making lies in our programmed behavior. Engaging in regular introspection, or the conscious examination of our inner selves, unveils the automatic responses we exhibit in various life situations. This practice enables us to discern the physiological reactions accompanying our emotions. In essence, we find ourselves living reactively, with introspection shedding light on the distinct muscle contractions that arise as we navigate through daily routines. The intensity of such tensions is contingent upon the perceived importance associated with each event. Notably, the stress experienced when subjected to insult differs significantly from that induced by intimidation. Through the consistent practice of introspection, we can observe the varying levels of tension our bodies endure in response to life's experiences. In subsequent lectures, I will delve further into the practical application of introspection, exploring how it empowers us to eradicate undesirable behaviors, such as shyness, fearfulness, and aggressiveness, while cultivating desirable traits like self-confidence, serenity, and dedication. Thus, through introspection, we gain insight into the different states of being that manifest as we engage in our daily activities. Crucially, this acquired understanding highlights the extent to which our inner condition is contingent upon external circumstances. It becomes evident that our programming has shaped us accordingly. Our inherent biases exert a significant influence on our inclinations towards action. These biases may lead us to unconsciously exhibit discriminatory attitudes or behaviors towards individuals who have been marginalized within society. For instance, in a particular incident, a Dominican man with a dark complexion entered a store called Food Town at an ordinary pace. Meanwhile, a Mexican employee, pushing a hand truck loaded with boxes behind the Dominican man, proceeded to slap the boxes, creating a loud commotion, seemingly implying that the Dominican man should hasten his departure. Such discriminatory behavior would unlikely have occurred had it been a white individual entering the establishment. The origins of such prejudiced behavior raise fundamental questions. Are we inherently inclined to harbor disfavor towards certain groups while bowing to those we perceive as superior or potentially equal to ourselves? Furthermore, adopting a predetermined mindset when perceiving and interpreting life encourages rigidity and hampers our ability to adapt flexibly to new circumstances. Having explored the impact of events on our daily routines, particularly in terms of bodily changes that occur in response to external stimuli, we can also consider the existence of enduring states of being or chronic negative emotional conditions, such as chronic depression or anxiety. Life's events can engender both fleeting and enduring states of negative emotions. Surely, we have encountered individuals who consistently exude anger, worry, or sadness. When these emotional conditions arise, our internal and external selves undergo distinct changes, which are assigned specific names such as depression or anxiety. In such cases, we traverse life while experiencing reality from within the confines of these particular emotional states. Consequently, we find ourselves trapped within the boundaries of such states of being. Whether an emotional experience is deemed positive or negative, it undeniably influences the choices made by the individual who is subject to it. One might even argue that the individual becomes possessed by a certain energy. The frequency with which one experiences feelings of depression, anxiety, sadness, and the like determines their vibrational frequency. These concepts may appear unfamiliar to many individuals, necessitating further elucidation. We are all aware that the repetition of any skill ultimately internalizes it, transforming it into an automatic process. Consider the acquisition of writing or reading abilities, for instance. Initially, we familiarize ourselves with the subject matter, and through repeated practice, we reach a point where performing these tasks feels second nature. Likewise, from the moment we first interact with the world, we are exposed to constant repetitions that facilitate our learning. Thus, we acquire language skills by emulating those who teach us how to communicate. While acquiring language, we also absorb aspects of people's personalities. Once internalized, these learned behaviors and language patterns become automatic and natural to us. Throughout this learning process, the worldview of those who instruct us is transmitted directly and indirectly to our unconscious selves. As a result, we and others who have been similarly indoctrinated share a common understanding of the world. Disagreements may occasionally arise on specific matters, but the underlying comprehension remains consistent. Rarely will someone ask, for instance, why is your perception of reality dictated by your emotions? Such questions are infrequently posed. It is uncommon to hear someone inquire, why are you employing your intellectual and emotional faculties to your detriment? Further elaboration on this subject is undoubtedly warranted. The comprehension that this endeavor, though uncompensated, demands unwavering perseverance and considerable patience in order to effectively impart this delicate information upon the reader, is paramount. As you engage with this material, you are embarking on a process of introspection concerning your perception of reality. You may even reach the point of questioning whether it is indeed you who experiences reality or if your perception has been shaped by external influences. To foster a clearer comprehension of the subject matter, it is essential to provide examples from diverse perspectives. For instance, any event you encounter will be profoundly influenced by your emotional state at that time. Should you find yourself becoming irritated for any reason, your customary intellectual and emotional faculties, which enable you to undertake tasks, will likewise be affected. In other words, when a set of bodily changes associated with irritation takes hold of your being, your normal functioning will be significantly compromised. Now, if the state of being irritated persists chronically or occurs frequently within your body, it becomes the new norm. The individual, in this case, becomes addicted to the experience of irritation. More precisely, they become dependent on the release of certain chemicals within the body that accompany the experience of irritation. Consequently, the person actively seeks out situations in which moments of irritation, according to their personal interpretation, are likely to arise. Here we delve into the frequency with which an individual is confined to the constellation of bodily tensions associated with irritation. Thus, chronic irritation results in operating at a vibrational frequency characterized by irritability, wherein nearly all life experiences occur within this state. Although these experiences allow us to gain awareness of our body's automatic responses, they do not necessarily reflect our true essence. For most individuals, self-knowledge entails identifying personal preferences, such as musical tastes, sporting activities, culinary choices, or desired companions. It may also involve understanding one's personality type, temperament, or recurring behavioral patterns. While psychological researchers, including behavioral geneticists, offer evidence of behavior patterns influenced by genetics, they also acknowledge that an individual's environment influences their genes and behavior. Thus, the options available for the manifestation of an individual's behavioral patterns are perceived to be confined to the pre-established definition of reality. In other words, experts provide evidence of predisposed behavior patterns based on specific genetic compositions, but the environment within which individuals express their behavior was already preconceived within their minds. Consequently, individuals act in accordance with their indoctrinated perception of reality. Once an individual's perception of reality is shaped by external influences and the environment is perceived as a natural affirmation of that constructed reality, there arises little incentive for the individual to question the validity of their own perception. As previously emphasized, it is of utmost importance to engage with this material repeatedly, as the process of repetition not only facilitates a deeper comprehension of the subject matter but also activates one's innate capacity to grasp concepts beyond the explicit content presented. The objective of this course is to assist you in personally uncovering the latent forces within you, forces masquerading as your own self exerting control over your thoughts, emotions, and actions. I refer to these influential powers that govern your thoughts and emotions as internal forces, as this is how you will experience them throughout your introspective journey. In truth, these forces are, in fact, your own emotions that have been conditioned to serve the interests of the dominant culture, effectively confining you within a frequency of bondage, unbeknownst to you. Through the practice of introspection, or the examination of one's inner self, we can indeed confirm the existence of automatic responses to situations in which our conscious decisions have played no significant role. While you may observe the internal manifestations of your emotions, you may harbor doubts regarding your ability to modify your emotional states. For instance, during your regular walks along a certain street, you may encounter a young-looking beggar, triggering various questions within your consciousness, such as why they do not seek employment. At this point, your capacity to perceive how your thoughts and emotions manifest themselves is known as introspection. The act of attaining awareness of one's thoughts and emotions in a specific life event is precisely what introspection entails. Moreover, introspection encompasses the ability to be cognizant of how one's thoughts and emotions manifest within their inner being, irrespective of external occurrences. As long as one is conscious, introspection can be practiced. This practice enables the identification of internal automatic responses that lie beyond one's volition, yet are erroneously believed to be one's own responsibility. These influential forces are so potent that they leave no room for even contemplating their non-identification with oneself. For example, an individual labeled as timid is regarded as possessing a deficiency in their personality. Timidity is thus expressed as the inability to regulate one's emotions effectively in specific situations, indicating the presence of forces that impede the individual from accurately assessing such circumstances. Through the process of introspection, the individual becomes conscious of the existence of these forces within their physical body. Evidently, the timid individual is unlikely to develop an awareness of the forces underlying their timidity in the midst of a crisis. However, what proves intriguing is that the individual can experience identical emotions merely by recollecting the circumstances in which the condition of timidity arose. Regrettably, most individuals would prefer to suppress such instances, yet through the act of recollection and the repetitive process of introspection, the forces known as timidity can be dissipated. However, it is imperative to provide further elucidation to effectively accomplish this endeavor. Timidity, like many other psychological disorders, exhibits noticeable characteristics. However, the forces that maintain dominance over us are far more subtle in nature. Although we are capable of perceiving these forces, we begin to doubt our responsibility for their impulses. Thus, the question arises, how can we ascertain whether these internal forces, which manifest as automatic emotional responses to events or thoughts, are not of our own creation? In truth, these forces belong to us, it is merely that they have fallen under the dominion of other individuals. We refer here to those individuals who bear the responsibility for our indoctrination. These individuals may or may not be directly involved in the process of indoctrinating us to perceive the world through their own perspectives. Yet, since this indoctrination commenced during the most vulnerable stages of our existence, namely infancy, by the time we have reached maturity, our perception of reality, what we consider as reality, is merely an expression of our indoctrinated selves, deeply ingrained within our consciousness, wherein the dominant culture's perception of reality has been firmly established. Consequently, we are rendered powerless to discern whether we are truly exercising autonomy over our choices. Everyone we encounter and every influence we encounter reinforces this indoctrinated worldview. We thus find ourselves akin to lab rats within the constructed realm that exists solely within our minds. The process of indoctrination, undertaken for the benefit of a select few but to the detriment of our own lives, commenced long ago. The legacy of slavery has surreptitiously imprinted itself upon our consciousness. Consequently, the notion of embracing a subordinate role in society rarely enters our cognizance when interpreting reality. We have normalized psychological assaults and grown accustomed to perceiving psychopathic behavior as normal. As evident, comprehending our predicament, emancipating ourselves from their emotional conditioning, and reclaiming our authentic identity necessitate perseverance and fortitude. In doing so, these individuals will relinquish their psychological power over us. Although I have already expounded extensively within this lecture, I firmly believe that allowing the reader sufficient time for introspection and contemplation of this information will yield greater benefits than further additions to the present discourse. I extend my gratitude to you, valiant individuals, and until we meet again, farewell.